Detroit is Different is where you get information, artistry, history, music, and even comedy. Detroit is Different, a home for the culture of Detroit. Visit online at DetroitisDifferent.com today.
Chokwe Lumumba stands in history as one of the leaders of the Republic of New Africa. Free the land is the statement that many people would say. But along with freeing the land with the Republic of New Africa, he's one of the best attorneys to serve anywhere. When we think about New York, when we think about Michigan, we think about Mississippi, we think about Georgia. When people talk about Tupac Shakur shooting a police officer and getting off, the reason he was able to shoot a police officer and get off was because Chokwe Lumumba was leading that case. Along with the case not just for Tupac, that whole family, Mutulu Shakur and Asada Shakur, the attorney that was standing right by their side was Chokwe Lumumba. And I went from this Barack Obama planning event with like supposed to be all of the best young thinkers and some of the best thinkers in Michigan over to this committee meeting over for the NBLA. And what I met was one of the people that shocked me. From the back of the room, it was this tall guy, tall, fair-skinned dude that kept giving out reasoning and precedent for every court case of why police injustice stood and the way that people should look at fighting it. So I'm sitting and just talking as a rapper that has some songs about unjust police practices, and I just had to bite my own tongue. I didn't have anything else to say. After I leave my panel, I walk over to him and I meet Chokwe Lumumba. And Chokwe says, I listen to rap a little bit, and he told me a little bit about Tupac Shakur and his family and Mutulu Shakur. But then he said to me, the next steps that you really have to think about is organizing. You got to think about planning. And then he broke down all these different theories of how to organize and plan and bring things together. From there, I brought him in for a Juneteenth event that I did at the Virgil Carr Center, when the Virgil Carr Center was actually in the heart of what's now revitalized as Paradise Valley, but right in the heart of downtown Detroit. And at this Juneteenth event, he spoke. It was one of the last addresses that he gave for Detroit that was documented, and he just spoke candidly about the ways that we need to look at freedom and what freedom means, and how freedom and human rights represent something that all people need to fight for, but more so over. When we think about human rights from a black perspective, we need to be very explicit about fighting for black rights and standing for black rights and how we stand for black rights, and making sure that you never compromise those rights for the greater good of what people will gloss over as integration. So black liberation looked like for Chokwe Lumumba freeing the land, and then that carried over into how to orchestrate and how to work within government to actually bring about balance and empowerment to black people. Chokwe Lumumba is somebody that I always look up to, and he's a big homie that I've had in my life that I'm surprised welcomed me into his life. And I ask of you to learn a little bit more about Chokwe Lumumba today in this Black History Month. And you can also come join us for a celebration in his honor coming up soon. It'll be Thursday, February 22nd. I'm going to join the Malcolm X Grassroots Association as they're going to honor the legacy of Malcolm X and Chokwe Lumumba. Free the land.
Detroit is Different is where you get information, artistry, history, music, and even comedy. Detroit is Different, a home for the culture of Detroit. Visit online at DetroitisDifferent.com today.